The warm and busy scene of green insects chirping in the grass, in the three-leaf grass tinged with morning dew, there crawled a shiny green little insect. Its name was Ding Ding. Ding Ding's body is like being wrapped in a layer of emerald-colored jelly. Wherever it crawls, it leaves thin silver lines. Its little antennae always sway back and forth, more sensitive than a small radar. The little Aunt Guago always follows it and calls out, "Ding Ding is a little fairy in the grass. Its eyes are bright and its heart is sweeter than nectar." That early morning Ding Ding was basking in the sun on the grass leaves when suddenly she heard a buzzing cry for help. Looking closer, the little bee's buzzing wings were stuck by the spider web, and it was flapping around anxiously. Ding Ding quickly crawled over, gently rubbed her body to break the spider silk, and then used her antennae to help Weng Weng clean the mucus off her wings. Do won't move around. The spider silk will get tighter and tighter. Buzzing flapped its wings and said, "Thank you, Dinging. Your strength is more effective than a small pair of scissors." In the morning, the sun scorched the grass leaves so hot that the little ladybugs couldn't find a shady place to lay their eggs. Ding Ding immediately climbed under a wide oxyless leaf, pushed aside the broken grass beside it with her body, and cleared out a clean area. "Come here quickly. This leaf is cool and safe." Dion lay on the grass leaf to lay eggs and said gratefully, "Your little antennae are more agile than a navigation device." At noon, the team of little Aunt Guagu was trying to carry a grain of rice, but was blocked by a fine crack. Ding Ding had a sudden inspiration. She found a soft grass stem and placed it across the crack to make a small bridge. Then she used her body to press down on both ends of the grass stem to fix it. "Hurry up and cross the bridge. It's stable." The ants lined up to cross the bridge. Gogobo waved his antennae and thanked them. "Your method is even better than the small ladder." In the afternoon, a sudden gentle breeze blew off the pollen bags of the little butterflies. Ding Ding quickly crawled along the grass stem, helped Duardwo pick up the pollen bag, and guided it to fly to the brightest flower. "The pollen here is the most fragrant. I'll watch the wind for you." Duardwo, covered in pollen, circled around Ding Ding. "Brother Ding Ding, you are truly my good helper." In the evening, the setting sun dyed the grass a warm green, and the friends gathered under the clovers. Buzzing brings sweet nectar, drop by drop offers delicious aphids, and fruit brings fragrant nectar. Ding Ding lay on the grass leaf, licking the nectar, her green body shining in the setting sun. It knew that, even though it was small, it could still help its good friends. Such a life in the grass was even happier than lying on the tenderest grass leaves. The heartwarming forest story of little hedgehog Tuanchuan in the forest covered with fallen leaves. There rolled a chubby little hedgehog. Its name was Tuanchuan. Tuanchuan's back is like it's covered with small brown toothpicks. Her belly is snow white, and her round eyes are like black grapes. When she runs, she makes a gulu-gulu sound, like a little fluffy ball. The little squirrel Tao Tao always lies on the branch and shouts, "Tuanchuan is the little armor of the forest." She looks simple and her heart is sweeter than wild jujubes. That early morning, little Aunt Guago's team was trying to carry a big pinnacone, but was blocked by a small slope. Tuantuin quickly rolled over, curled up into a spiky ball, and pushed the pinnacone onto her back. "Come up, I'll take you there." It climbed steadily up the earthen slope and gently lowered the pinnacone. Guagu waved its antennae and said, "Thank you, Tuan. Your back is more stable than a trolley." In the morning, the sun made the leaves shine, but the wings of the little butterflies were stuck by dewdrops and they couldn't fly. Tuan had a sudden inspiration. She found a dry ginkgo leaf, let Duadwo lie on it, and used her body to block the sunlight to dry its wings. Duadwo flapped her wings and flew up, circling around Tuantuan in circles. "Brother Tuantuan, your shadow is more comfortable than the shade of a tree." At noon, the friends in the forest were going to have a picnic, but they couldn't find a suitable table. Tuan immediately called over a few hedgehog friends, and together they curled up into a ball of spines. Then they spread a large lotus leaf on it, and a hedgehog dining table was done. Little Rabbit Rongrong held a carrot and said, "Tuan, your bodies are even stronger than the little table." In the afternoon, it suddenly started to drizzle. The lost little sparrow chirped and huddled under the mushrooms, shivering. Tuan quickly rolled to the mushroom, spread out his body, and used the thorns on his back to hang a few large leaves to make a thornball umbrella, protecting Juju under him. The rain soaked Tuan's thorns, but Shushu didn't get wet at all. Shushu pecked Tuan's ear and said, "Your umbrella is even more special than the flower umbrella." In the evening, the setting sun dyed the forest a golden red, and the friends gathered on the grassland. Guagubu brings sweet nectar, Duabu offers fresh wild fruits, and Rongrong delivers crispy carrots. Tuan curled up in the middle, munching on wild jujubes. The thorns on her back were still hanging small leaves given by her friends, and her heart felt warm. It knew that its thorns were not only used to protect itself, but also to help its good friends. Such a forest life was even happier than eating the sweetest wild juice. Purple fish bubbles, coral warm diary in the deep sea dotted with corals. There swims a little purple fish. It is called Bubble. Bubble's body is like a ripe purple grape, with its scales shining with a pearly luster in the light. The bubbles it blows are all light purple. When it wags its tail, it looks like a fluttering purple velvet flower. Nemo the clownfish always follows it. Bubbo is the little fairy of the coral reef. It swims beautifully and has a heart sweeter than seaweed honey. That early morning, little seahorse Duadwa's dorsal fin was entangled by seaweed, and she was so anxious that she kept spinning around. Bubble swam over quickly, gently pecked through the seaweed with its pointed beak, and then spat out Bubble to help Duadua straighten out the disordered fins. "Don't panic. The seaweed is most afraid of my little pointed beak." Duadwo wrapped her tail around Bubbu. "Thank you, Bubbu. Your mouth is more dexterous than a pair of small scissors." In the morning, the sun filtered through the sea, casting patches of light. The pincers of the little crab's pincers got stuck in the conch shell, causing blisters of pain. Babu immediately found smooth, small stones and placed them between the conch shell and the pincers. Then he gently bumped the conch with his body to help the pincers slowly break free. Count to 3 and fight hard. I'll hold it up for you. After being rescued, the pliers were held up and said, "Your method is even more effective than a small crowbar." At noon, the little fish in the coral reef are going to have a hide-and-seek competition, but they can't find a suitable referee. The bubble volunteered to be the referee and spat out a string of purple bubbles as a signal bell. Whoever was found would have a bubble gently touch it. The little fish were having a great time and all praised Baobo for being the fairest referee. In the afternoon, a sudden flash of water swept the little starfish Xing Xing away from home. The bubble immediately swam in front of the star, blocking the water flow with its body and spitting out bubbles as a mark to guide the star towards the coral reef. Follow my purple bubble and ULL. Find your home. After returning home, the star rubbed the bubbles with its antennae to express its gratitude. In the evening, the setting sun dyed the sea a pinkish purple, and the friends gathered around the coral reefs. Nemo brought fresh plankton, pliers presented shiny shells, and stars sent smooth pebbles. Bubbles were blowing purple bubbles, swimming around their friends. Their hearts were warmer than being immersed in a warm current. It turns out that using one's own strength to protect friends is the happiest thing in the deep sea. A warm story in the shallow sea, with pointed fish bones on the shimmering sandy bed of the shallow sea, lay a white fishbone, which was called Jianjian. The pointed body is like a small frame carved from moonlight, and the fin bones spread out like delicate little fans, slippery by the waves. Little hermit crab Dodo always hides beside it. Jianjian is a small house in the shallow sea, with a cute appearance and a heart warmer than seaweed juice. That early morning, little krill Lili was swept into a crevice of a rock by currents and was running around in circles in a panic. Jianjian quickly shouted, "Lily, crawl into the crack of my bone." One grain hides among the sharp vertebrae, and the waves can no longer reach it. When the wind and waves subsided, Jianjian hooked his tailbone onto the seaweed again, allowing Lily to crawl out along the seaweed. Lily shook her little antennae and said, "Thank you, Jianjian. Your bones are safer than a small haven." In the morning, little starfish Xing Xing couldn't find its way home and lay on the sand, worrying. Jianjian immediately drew a shiny path on the sand with his ribs. That was the direction leading to the coral reef, and asked a passing small shell to help guard the mark. The star followed the scratch and soon found its home. When it came back, it rubbed its antennae against Jianjian. "Your scratch is clearer than a compass." At noon, the pincers of the little crab's pincers got stuck in the fine sand, unable to open or close. Jianjian quickly moved over, gently picking away the sand grains with his sharp jawbone, and then let the pincers slowly move into the gaps between his fins and bones. After the pliers of the pliers became flexible again, they held up a small shell and gave it to Jianjian, saying, "Your bones are more dexterous than the small tweezers." In the afternoon, it suddenly started to drizzle, and the newly hatched little fish were shivering with cold. Jianjin immediately gathered the little conchs and built a small shed with their own bones. The little conchs surrounded them to shield themselves from the wind and rain, and the little fish fry hid under the shed, feeling warm and cozy. The mother fish swam over to express her gratitude and used her tail to brush away the sand grains for Jianjian. In the evening, the setting sun dyed the sea water orange-red, and the friends gathered around Jian. Dudu brought smooth pebbles, Xing Xing offered fresh seaweed, and Chonkian picked up shiny shells. Jianjian lay on the sandbed, her bones shining warmly in the setting sun. Her heart was sweet. It turned out that even though she was small, she could still be a support for her friends. Such a shallow sea life was even happier than being warmed by the sun. Purple fish bubbles, coral warm diary in the deep sea dotted with corals. There swims a little purple fish. It is called Bubble. Bubble's body is like a ripe purple grape, with its scales shining with a pearly luster in the light. The bubbles it blows are all light purple. When it wags its tail, it looks like a fluttering purple velvet flower. Nemo the clownfish always follows it. Bubbo is the little fairy of the coral reef. It swims beautifully and has a heart sweeter than seaweed honey. That early morning, little seahorse Duodwa's dorsal fin was entangled by seaweed, and she was so anxious that she kept spinning around. Bubble swam over quickly, gently pecked through the seaweed with its pointed beak, and then spat out Bubble to help Duodua straighten out the disordered fins. Don't panic. The seaweed is most afraid of my little pointed beak. Duodwo wrapped her tail around Bubbu. Thank you, Bubbu. Your mouth is more dexterous than a pair of small scissors. In the morning, the sun filtered through the sea, casting patches of light. The pincers of the little crab's pincers got stuck in the conch shell, causing blisters of pain. Babu immediately found smooth, small stones and placed them between the conch shell and the pincers. Then he gently bumped the conch with his body to help the pincers slowly break free. Count to 3 and fight hard. I'll hold it up for you. After being rescued, the pliers were held up and said, "Your method is even more effective than a small crowbar." At noon, the little fish in the coral reef are going to have a hide-and-seek competition, but they can't find a suitable referee. The bubble volunteered to be the referee and spat out a string of purple bubbles as a signal bell. Whoever was found would have a bubble gently touch it. The little fish were having a great time and all praised Baobo for being the fairest referee. In the afternoon, a sudden flash of water swept the little starfish Xing Xing away from home. The bubble immediately swam in front of the star, blocking the water flow with its body and spitting out bubbles as a mark to guide the star towards the coral reef. Follow my purple bubble and ULL. Find your home. After returning home, the star rubbed the bubbles with its antennae to express its gratitude. In the evening, the setting sun dyed the sea a pinkish purple, and the friends gathered around the coral reefs. Nemo brought fresh plankton, pliers presented shiny shells, and stars sent smooth pebbles. Bubbles were blowing purple bubbles, swimming around their friends. Their hearts were warmer than being immersed in a warm current. It turns out that using one's own strength to protect friends is the happiest thing in the deep sea. At sweet hammy melons and sweet melon fields in the melon field by the desert, there is a lush green vine on which lie plump hammy melons. Among them, the most fragrant and sweet one was named Tian Tian by the grandpa melon grower. Tian Tian was wearing a light green flower dress with net patterns, as if wrapped in a small cotton-padded jacket with patterns. It felt rough, but very thick. When she got close to smell it, a strong, sweet fragrance wafted straight into her nose. Its flesh is golden and shiny. When you take a bite, your mouth is full of honey-like juice with a faint fragrance. Grandpa always says, Tian Tian is the little sugar treasure in the melon field. The sun in the desert has dried it to its fullest. All the sweetness is hidden in the flesh. That early morning, the little lizard had been running round on the sandy ground for a long time. It was hot and thirsty, and its tail had no strength left to curl up. It climbed up to Tian Tian, rubbed against her cool flower dress, and suddenly felt cool. It whispered to Tian, "Tian, hammy melon. Hammy melon, I'm so thirsty. Can I borrow some sweet water to drink?" Just then, Grandpa came to pick melons and said with a smile, "They are sweet and ripe. Let's taste them together." Grandpa picked up Tian Tian and, with a click, cut it open. The golden flesh was exposed and the sweet juice trickled down the slit of the knife. Liulu licked the sweet juice and immediately perked up, wagging his tail and running around Tian. "Tian, thank you, Tian. Your juice is sweeter than nectar. I'm no longer thirsty." In the morning, the sun was getting brighter and brighter. Little Aunt Guago, along with her friends, was carrying breadcrumbs. After just a few steps, they were so hot that they were gasping for breath. They saw the remaining rind of the sweet melon like a big green nest and quickly climbed in. There was still sweet juice in the rind, cool and refreshing, even more comfortable than under the shade of a tree. Guago lay in the rind of the melon, waving her antennae at Tiantian. "Thank you, Tiantian. Your melon rind is cooler than a small pergola. We won't be afraid of the sun anymore." The sweet fragrance wafted further away, as if saying, "You're welcome." At noon, the little girl Duaduo from the neighbor's house came to play in the melon field. As soon as she smelled the sweet fragrance, her eyes lit up immediately. "Grandpa, this hammy melon is so fragrant. It must be extremely sweet." Grandpa washed Tian Tian clean, cut her into crescent-shaped pieces and handed them to Duaduo, saying, "The freshly picked hammy melon is the sweetest. Have a taste quickly." Duaduo took a big bite. The soft and glutinous flesh melted in her mouth, and the sweet juice trickled down the corner of her mouth. She quickly wiped it and said with a smile, "It's too sweet. It's sweeter than candy. But I'm going to take it back for my parents and Lele to eat together." Grandpa cut another large piece and asked Duadua to put it in a fresh-keeping box. He also specially left a piece of melon rind with a net pattern. In the afternoon, a few clouds drifted in the sky. It was still a bit hot. Duadwa and Lele were playing the desert adventure game at home. Lele looked at the melon rind and suddenly said, "Let's use the melon rind as a desert boat." They filled the basin with sand, placed melon rinds on it, and used small twigs as oars to simulate sailing in the desert, laughing particularly happily. Lele clapped her hands and said, "Tian Tian is so amazing. It can be eaten and played with, and its fragrance can even serve as a compass." In the evening, the setting sun died. The melon field orange-red mum put the remaining flesh of the hammy melon into a blender to make sweet hammy melon juice and added some ice cubes. Duodwo, Lele, Layulu, and Guago all gathered around the table, drinking juice together. It was cool and sweet, driving away all the summer heat. Lele said while drinking, "This is the best juice I've ever had. It's all because of Sweetie." Grandpa smiled and said, "The hammy melons in the desert are the sweetest. Sharing them together will bring more happiness." When the moon rose, Duadwo washed the sweet melon seeds clean and put them in a small plate. She wanted to plant the seeds in a flower pot and wait for the small melon seedlings to grow next year. Lying in bed, she recalled the sweet fragrance of the day and gradually fell asleep. In the melon field of the dream, Tian Tian was still lying on the vine, dressed in a netted flower dress, exuding a strong, sweet fragrance, waiting for everyone to share it. Because of Tian Tian, this summer has become sweet and cool. Such days are more beautiful than soft and glutinous fruits and vegetables, and more lovely than flowery clothes with net patterns. The sweet memories of the peach garden with its pink peaches in my grandmother's peach garden. There is a luxuriant peach tree with plump peaches hanging on its branches. Among them, the one that is the pinkest and softest was named Fen by my grandmother. She is plump and round, dressed in a pink, white and translucent red coat, as if smeared with a light layer of rouge. Her skin is covered with fine down, feeling soft and fluffy, like a baby's little face. Its fruit stalks are slender and gently sway on the branches. When the wind blows, a sweet, fruity aroma wafts over. Even butterflies can't help circling around it. Grandma always says Fen is the little sweet treasure in the peach garden. When it's ripe, taking a bite can be sweet to the heart. That early morning, just as Fen was moistened by the morning dew and shone brightly, she heard the anxious Gigi sound. It was the chirping of a little sparrow. It had been flying all morning in search of food, its stomach growling with hunger. But it only found a few dry and hard grass seeds. Shu landed on a branch beside Fen, smelling the sweet fruit fragrance. His eyes lit up immediately, but he dared not approach, fearing to knock off this tender peach. Fen quickly shook her body to bring the fruit fragrance closer. Shu, don't be afraid. I can share some of the fruit flesh with you. Just then, my grandma came to the peach orchard to pick peaches. Seeing Choo, she gently picked off the pink ones and broke off a small piece of soft flesh to place on the branch. Shu pecked a mouthful, and the sweet juice spread in his mouth. He immediately flapped his wings and cheered, "Thank you, Fen. Your flesh is sweeter than nectar. I'm finally not hungry." In the morning, the sun gradually rose higher, and the peach garden became warm. Fen found that the little snail under the tree was crawling slowly and listlessly. It wanted to find a shady place to rest for a while, but the other leaves were all too small. Slowly climbing up the tree trunk to the place where the pink powder was originally hanging, I found a big peach leaf, still carrying the fragrance of the pink powder. I quickly climbed up. Wow, it's so cool and fragrant here. Fen was placed in a bamboo basket and watched slowly lie on the peach leaves, as if sharing her sweet fragrance. Slowly shaking her antennae, she said to the bamboo basket, "Thank you, Fen. Your leaves are more comfortable than your petals. I'm not afraid of the sun anymore." At noon, the little girl Duodwo from the neighbor's house came to the peach garden to help her grandma with the work. As soon as she saw Fen in the bamboo basket, her eyes lit up. "Grandma, this peach is so pink, like a little face. It must be extremely sweet." Grandma smiled and washed Fen clean, handing it to Duodwo and saying, "The freshly picked peaches are the softest. Have a taste." Duodwo took a gentle bite. The soft and glutinous flesh melted in her mouth, and the sweet juice trickled down the corner of her mouth. She quickly wiped it and said with a smile, "It's so delicious. The powder is sweeter than candy. I'm going to take one for my good friend Lele and let her taste it too." She even deliberately picked a peach as pink, hoping that Lele could also see this little pink ball. In the afternoon, dark clouds suddenly drifted from the sky, and it seemed that it was about to rain. Fen recalled the little ant Guago living in a corner of the peach garden. Their holes were unobstructed, and rainwater would seep into them. Fen quickly asked her grandma to pick the peach leaves beside her and cover them with the ant hole. The peach leaves were big and soft, just right to keep out the rain. When the raindrops pattered down, Guago poked his head out from under the leaves and waved his antennae at Fen. "Thank you, Fen. Your leaves are more effective than pebbles. The hole isn't wet at all." Fen lay in the bamboo basket, smelling the fragrance of fruits in the rain, feeling sweet in her heart. In the evening, the setting sun dyed the peach garden an orange red. Grandma washed the pink powder and other peaches clean. Some of them were cut into pieces for dessert, and some were made into peach jam. Duadru and Lele were gathered around the dining table, eating sweet peaches and peach jam on bread. They took one bite after another, their mouths filled with sweetness. Lely said while eating, "This is the most delicious peach I've ever eaten. It's all because of the powder." Grandma smiled and said, "Peaches in spring are the sweetest. We'll be happier when we all eat them together." When the moon rose, Duarduo washed the pink fruit pits clean and placed them in a small plate. She wanted to plant the pits in flower pots and wait for the small peach seedlings to grow next year. She lay on the bed, looking out of the window at the moon. It seemed as if she saw the pink powder turn into real little powder balls, smiling at her in the moonlight. The room was quiet, with only the sound of the evening breeze brushing past the window. Because of the pink powder, this small peach garden became warm and sweet. Such days were more beautiful than the soft and glutinous peach flesh, and more lovely than the tender pink coat. The warm story of the lush green birds in the forest. In the emerald green forest, there is a lively green bird flying. Its name is Kwikwi. Kui's feathers are like the tender leaves of spring, shining green. The edges of her wings have faint yellow lines. Her round head is covered with a small tuft of down. Her call is as clear as a silver bell. Grandma Woodpecker always says Kui is a little messenger in the forest. She flies fast, has a sweet voice, and always likes to help everyone. That early morning, the tree hole of little squirrel Tao was soaked by the heavy rain and could be lived in. Kwikwi saw this and quickly flapped her wings to fly around. Finally, she found a dry big tree hole and hurried back to shout, "Tao, I've found a new home." Tao followed Kwikwi into the new tree hole and happily said, "Thank you, Kwikwi. Your eyes are sharper than telescopes. Your new home is so comfortable." In the morning, the sun was scorching hot on the ground. The little ants, carrying sugar grains, were so exhausted that they lay on the stones, gasping for breath. Kwikwi flew to the top of the big tree, blocking the sunlight with her wings and gently fanning herself with leaves. Little ants come and cool off. The cool breeze made the ants full of energy. The team leader waved his antennae and said, "Thank you, Kwikwi. Your wings are more useful than a small fan. The wind is sweet." At noon, little hedgehog Kuki got lost in the forest and was growling with hunger. Quickly landed beside Kuki, chattering away as she led it towards the wild fruit grove. From time to time, she would turn back to wait for it, saying, "Follow me, there's something delicious to eat." Kuki tasted the sweet wild fruit and bowed to Quickly, saying, "Thank you, Quickly. Your cries are more effective than road signs. Wild fruits are so sweet." In the afternoon, the little girl, Duadwo, from the neighbor's house, came to the forest for sketching. She wanted to draw a rare blue wildflower, but she just couldn't find it. Quickly saw this and immediately held a petal in her mouth, leading the way ahead and taking Duadwo to the valley where wildflowers were in full bloom. Duadwo smiled and clapped her hands. "Quickly, you are such a caring companion. This flower is so beautiful." In the evening, dark clouds drifted from the sky, and it seemed that it was about to rain. Quickly found that the grass nest of the little cricket lily was leaking. She quickly picked up some dry grass and leaves to help Lely repair the nest, and also found a large lotus leaf to cover the top. When the raindrops drip fell, Lely's bed was extremely dry. She sang a song and said, "Thank you, Kui Kui. Your craftsmanship is even more skillful than that of a little tailor. I'm not wet at all." The setting sun dyed the forest golden green. The friends gathered under the lush trees and held a small sharing session. Tao Tao brought pine cones, Kuki brought wild fruits, and Duadwo brought sweet millet. Quickly pecked at the millet, her wings flapping gently, feeling warm in her heart. Grandma Woodpecker said, "Quicky's green feathers are beautiful, but her warm-hearted heart to help others is even more precious." When the moon rose, Kui Kui fell on the branches, and the song drifted along with the evening breeze. Because of the green bird Kui Kui, this small forest has become more lively and warmer. Such days are more pleasant than sweet millet and more dazzling than emerald green feathers. The warm care story of the little yellow dog Wang Wang in the small courtyard beside the fence of a rural courtyard. There was a fluffy little yellow dog running. Its name was Wang Wang. Wang Wang's fur is like the sun-dried rape flowers, golden and soft. Its round black eyes are bright and shiny. Its big, drooping ears always sway gently. When it runs, it makes a da-da-da sound, creating a gentle breeze. It also makes a cheerful woof-woof-woof sound. Its owner, Grandpa, always says Wang Wang is the little guard of the courtyard. It has a charming appearance and a heart softer than cotton. One early morning, the little cat Mimi accidentally fell into the vegetable cellar and meowed in terror. Wang Wang heard the sound and rushed to the vegetable cellar. Lying on the ground, he stretched out his neck and gently reached for Mimi with his soft paws. "Mimi, catch me." Mimi climbed up along Wang Wang's paw, rubbed its face and said, "Thank you, Wang. Your claws are more useful than a small ladder. You saved me." In the morning, the sun made the small courtyard warm. The little ducks couldn't find any shade and lay on the ground, panting. Wang Wang hurriedly ran to the loofah tongs and pushed aside the thick leaves with his body, as if holding up a small golden pergola. "Ladies, come and enjoy the cool." The little ducks gathered around. As soon as the cool breeze blew, they immediately perked up and called out to Wong Wong, "Thank you, Wong Wong. It's even more comfortable here than under the shade of a big tree." At noon, the little owner Duadwar's doll fell into the pond. She was so worried that she almost cried. When Wong Wong saw this, he jumped into the water with a plop, carefully picked up the doll with his mouth, and slowly swam back to the shore, placing the doll in front of Duodwu. Duodwu held the doll in her arms, smiling and patting Wang Wang's head. "Thank you, Wang Wang. Your swimming skills are even better than those of a duckling. The doll isn't wet." In the afternoon, the little boy Lele from the neighbor's house came to the small courtyard to play and wanted to chase butterflies with Wang Wang. Wang Wang led Lele to run in the yard and would stop from time to wait for him. When the butterfly flew far away, he would help Lele lead it closer. Lele sat on the ground, exhausted, and hugged Wang Wang's neck, saying, "Wang Wang, you are really my good friend. You had such a great time." In the evening, dark clouds drifted from the sky, and it seemed that it was about to rain. Wang Wang remembered the peanuts drying in the yard and quickly called his grandpa over with a woof 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 sound, dragging a corner of the sack under the eaves. When the raindrops pattered down, the peanuts had already been harvested into the house. The owner, Grandpa, smiled and said, "Our Wong Wong is so capable. He's a responsible little guard." The setting sun dyed the small courtyard a warm yellow. The friends gathered in the yard and held a small sharing session for what? Mimi brought dried small fish, the little duck shared corn kernels, and Duadwa and Lele brought sweet bone cookies. Wang Wang was munching on a biscuit, wagging his tail like a small flag, feeling warm in his heart. "Grandpa," the owner said, "Wang Wang's little yellow fur is cute, but his brave and warm-hearted heart is even more precious." When the moon rose, Wang Wang lay under the eaves, listening to the whispers in the small courtyard with a smile on his lips. Because of the little yellow dog Wang Wang, this small courtyard has become safer and more lively. Such days are more delicious than sweet cookies and more endearing than golden fur. Sunflower Yang Yang's garden sunshine record in the corner of Grandma's vegetable garden. There is a tall sunflower. The little girl, Lele, named it Yang Yang. Its stem is straight, like a small green pillar, covered with fine down. The most eye-catching part is the flower head on the top. The golden petals seem to have spread a circle of sunlight. In the middle of the flower head, there are numerous small compartments, hidden unripe sunflower seeds, like being studied with tiny green gems. Yang Yang has a special habit. No matter where the sun turns, its flower head will follow suit. In the morning, it faces east to wait for the sun. At noon, it faces south to chase the sun. In the evening, it faces west to send the sun away. The friends in the vegetable garden all call it Sunshine Lighthouse. That early morning, as soon as the sun showed half of its face, Yang Yang's flower head was already facing east, waiting for the sunlight to fall. Suddenly, it heard a soft woo cry. It was the little snail. Slowly, it wanted to climb to a high place to bask in the sun, but after climbing for a long time, it only reached the middle of the grass leaves. The morning dew soaked its shell, making it shiver with cold. Yang Yang quickly tilted the flower tray slightly, allowing the sunlight that had just reached it to fall right beside Meng Meng. But Meng Meng, don't worry, my flower tray can shield you from the dew and also let you bask in the sun. Slowly climbing along the flower stem, I reached the petals under the flower head. The warm sunlight shone on the shell, and in no time, it wasn't cold anymore. It shook its antennae at Yang Yang and said, "Thank you, Yang Yang. Your flower plate is like a little sun, much warmer than the grass leaves." In the morning, the sun slowly rose above our heads, and Yang Yang's flower head also turned to the south. The little butterfly flower in the vegetable garden has been flying among the flowers for a long time. Its wings are almost tired from flapping. It wants to find a flat place to rest for a while, but the petals of other flowers are too small and it can't stand steadily. Hua Hu saw Yang Yang's big flower tray and quickly flew over, landing on the golden petals. "Yang Yang, can I rest on your flower tray for a while?" Yang Yang gently flattened the flower tray a little to make the petals more stable. "Come on, my petals are big and soft." Hua Hua lay on the petal, her wings slowly spreading out, and she also fanned Yang Yang. "Thank you, Yang Yang. Your flower tray is like a small stage, much more comfortable than other petals. I can even bask in the sun." At noon, Lele came home from school, holding a small notebook and colored pens, and ran to Yang Yang's side. Every day, she would draw a picture for Yang Yang to record its growth. Lele squatted beside, looking at Yang Yang's golden flower head and emerald green leaves, and began to draw carefully. She even drew a few small sunflower seeds in the middle of the flower head. After finishing the drawing, she held up the drawing book and said to Yang Yang, "Yang Yang, look. Your flower tray is a little bigger today. I even drew sunflower seeds that will grow in the future." Yang Yang's flower tray swayed slightly, as if smiling at Lele. The sunlight shone on the picture book, and Yang Yang in the picture seemed to brighten up as well. In the afternoon, a few dark clouds suddenly drifted in the sky, blocking the sun a little. Yang Yang's flower tray was still facing the sun. Soon, the dark clouds gradually dispersed and the sun came out again. Yang Yang's flower tray immediately turned around as well. In the vegetable garden, the little ant Guoguo led her friends to look for food. Just now, she was scared by the dark clouds and hid in a hole. Now that she saw Yang Yang's flower head facing the sun, she knew it was safe. She quickly led her friends out and climbed along Yang Yang's flower stem, hoping to find the aphids on the flower head as food. When Yang Yang saw the fruits, he quickly exposed the few little aphids hidden under the flower tray and said, "Guago, come here quickly. There's something you love to eat here." The fruits happily gathered around and waved their antennae at Yang Yang. "Thank you, Yang Yang. Your flower tray is like a little lighthouse. When we see you facing the sun, we are no longer afraid. In the evening, the sun slowly set in the west, and Yang Yang's flower head also turned to the west. The golden petals were dyed orange-red by the setting sun, as if sprinkled with a layer of honey. Lely came to visit Yang Yang again and brought a water bottle. He watered it a little and said, "Yang Yang, today you helped Meng Meng, Wawa, and Guago. You are such a warm-hearted little son." Grandma also came over and touched Yang Yang's flower tray, saying, "In a few days there will be plump sunflower seeds growing in Yang Yang's flower tray. Then let's roast the sunflower seeds until they are fragrant and share them with Lele's friends, shall we?" Yang Yang's flower tray swayed slightly, as if nodding in agreement. When the moon rose, Yang Yang's flower plate slowly drooped, as if it were also tired and needed to rest. The vegetable garden is quiet, with only the rustling sound of the evening breeze brushing against the leaves. Because of Yang Yang, this small vegetable garden has become increasingly lively and warm. Yang Yang knows that when the sun rises tomorrow, it will be able to follow the sun again, continue to help its friends around it, and wait for the sunflower seeds in the flower tray to grow up slowly. Then it will be able to share the sweet sunflower seeds with everyone. Such days are warmer than flower beds under the setting sun and more full of anticipation than sunflower seeds about to ripen. Little wooden horse Dada Dai's room companion notes. In the corner of the little boy Dodo's room, there was a small brown wooden horse. Dudu named it Dada. Dada's body is made of smooth wood, and a faint wood grain can still be seen on it, as if it were wearing a small coat with patterns. Its 4 short wooden legs stand steadily on the ground. There is a small red bell tied around its neck. When it is shaken, it will make a dingling, dingling sound. The cutest part is its little head, which is painted with a pair of round black eyes, as if it is always smiling at Dodo. Dudu has had Dada since she was 3 years old. Whether happy or sad, she would run to Dada's side and ride on its back, swaying back and back. That early morning, Dodo was a little unhappy as soon as he woke up. His mother said he was going to get an injection today. Just thinking about the needle made him a little scared. He sat by the bedside, pout his lips, and didn't even want to touch his favorite dinosaur toy. The Dada in the corner seemed to have read Dodo's mind. When Dodo walked over, the little bell around its neck suddenly shook slightly, making a jingling sound, as if greeting. Dudu squatted down, touched the smooth wooden body, and suddenly wanted to try riding it. He climbed onto Dada's back, grabbed its neck with both hands, and with a gentle force, Dada began to shake back and forth. The bell followed the jingle-jingle sound, as if saying, "Don't be afraid, I'll play with you." After swaying for a while, Dodo's lips gradually curled up. "Thank you so much, Da-da-da. Riding on your back, I don't seem so afraid of getting injections anymore." In the morning, Dodo's good friend Lele came to play at home. The two of them wanted to play the game night adventure, but they couldn't find a suitable horse after searching for a long time. Lele's saw the Dada in the corner and his eyes lit up at once. "Dodo, let's ride the Dada as knights." It also has a little bell. It must be particularly imposing. Dudu nodded. The two of them took turns riding on Dada's back, one as the knight and the other as the guide. Dada's bell kept ringing jingle jingle, as if singing along with their laughter, when they were tired from playing. The two still sat beside Dada and told it the story of the knight defeating the dragon. Lele also said Dada must be the bravest warhorse, even more powerful than the horses in the story. Dada's black eyes seemed even brighter as she listened quietly to their story. At noon, Mum was making lunch in the kitchen and asked Dodo to tidy up the toys in the room. Dudu was halfway through tidying up when he suddenly wanted to find a comfortable home for Dada. Dada had always been placed on the floor in the corner before, and he felt it was a bit cold. Dudu found her own small blanket and laid it under Dada. She also placed her favorite dinosaur doll beside Dada, as if she had found a companion for it. Mum came in and saw it. She smiled and patted Dodo's head, saying, "Our Dodo is so considerate. They even know to lay a blanket for Doda. Dada must be very happy." Dudu lay beside Dada, listening to the sound of stir-frying in the kitchen, feeling warm in her heart. In the afternoon, it suddenly started to drizzle. Dudu couldn't go out to play and felt a bit listless. He sat on Dada's back, swaying and swaying. Suddenly, he remembered the time when he and his parents went to the park to ride the big wooden horse. Before he pointed at Dada's eyes and said, "Dada, do you know, last time I went to the park, the big wooden horse was much taller than you, but I still thought you were the cutest because you were always in my room with me." Saying that, he gently patted Dada's body. Dada's bell rang again with a jingle, as if responding to him. Dudu just rode the Dada for the whole afternoon and made up many adventure stories about the little wooden horse Dada. She didn't feel bored at all. In the evening, the setting sun dyed the room orange-red. Dudu spread the drawing paper on the ground, wanting to draw a picture for Dada. He carefully drew the wood grain of Dada, the red bell, and the round black eyes. After finishing, he also drew a small self beside Dada, riding on its back and holding a small sword in his hand. Dudu stuck the picture on the wall beside Dada and said to Dada, "Dada, look. From now on, you and my paintings will accompany me. We will always be good friends." When the moon rose, Dodo lay on the small bed, looking at Dada in the corner. Its figure was quiet under the moonlight, as if it were also taking a rest. The room was quiet, with only the sound of rain outside the window and the occasional gentle tapping of bells in the wind. Because of the tapping, this small room became more and more lively and warm. Such days were more enjoyable than going to the park and louder than the red bells.